My name is Ethan Blake. I'm a journalist, or at least I used to be. My career took a sharp turn 2 weeks ago when I received a call from a man named Thomas Greaves. His voice was shaky, barely above a whisper. He said he had a story, something about Roswell. At first, I thought it was another conspiracy nut looking for attention. But then he said something that made my blood run cold. I was there, I saw it, and it's still out there. He gave me an address, a remote cabin deep in the New Mexico desert, told me to come alone. Against my better judgment, I packed a bag and drove out the next morning. The road stretched endlessly through the desert, heat shimmering off the asphalt. Dust clouds kicked up behind my car as I veered off the highway onto a dirt path. No signs, no landmarks, just miles of sand and rock. My GPS gave up about 20 minutes in. I almost turned around when I saw the cabin. It was small and weathered, its wooden walls worn gray by the sun and wind. A single window stared at me like a dead eye. I knocked once, no answer. I knocked again, harder this time. The door creaked open. "Hello?" I stepped inside. The smell hit me first, stale cigarette smoke and something metallic underneath. Thomas sat in a worn-out armchair near the window. His skin was pale and thin, stretched tight over his bones. His hands trembled as he lit a cigarette. "You actually came," he said, exhaling a thin stream of smoke. "I wasn't sure you would." "I'm here," I replied. "What's this about?" Thomas's eyes darted toward the window. He lowered his voice. "They've been watching me for years, but now they know I'm talking to you." "Who's watching you?" Thomas rubbed his hand across his mouth. "The government. The men in black. Suits. The ones who clean up after..." He paused, his eyes distant. "After them." He pulled a tattered leather notebook from his jacket and handed it to me. "It's all in here. The truth about Roswell. The truth they've been hiding for decades." I flipped through the pages. Sketches of strange symbols, diagrams of spacecraft, medical reports marked classified. But the last page made my heart stop. A photograph, grainy and damaged, showing a metallic structure partially buried in the desert sand. Beside it lay a body, small, thin-limbed, with gray skin and oversized black eyes. "It wasn't destroyed," Thomas whispered. "They moved it. They studied it. They've been using it." A cold knot formed in my stomach. Using it for what? Power, technology, supremacy. His eyes were wide now, bloodshot and wild. "But it's not human. It never was. And now..." He swallowed hard. "Now it's waking up." A noise outside made us both jump. The crunch of gravel under heavy boots. Thomas grabbed my arm, his grip stronger than it should have been for a man. "His age. You need to go," he hissed. "Take the notebook and run." "But they know you're here." I stuffed the notebook into my jacket and ran to the door. I glanced back at Thomas one last time. His face was pale and twisted with fear. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "It's too late." I stepped outside into the cool night air. The desert stretched out around me, dark and quiet. Then I saw it, a black SUV parked at the edge of the property. Figures in dark suits stood by the vehicle, their faces hidden in shadow. One of them stepped forward, his movements too smooth, too precise. His eyes flashed briefly in the moonlight, not human. I turned and ran toward my car. Behind me, I heard Thomas scream, and then silence. I didn't stop driving until I was 50 miles away. When I finally pulled over, my hands were shaking, so badly I could barely turn the key. I took out the notebook and flipped to the last page again. Beneath the photograph was a single handwritten line. Site 13, 33 degrees, 24 N, 106 degrees, 28 W coordinates. A place. I should have turned back. I should have burned the notebook and forgotten about all of it. But I didn't. I didn't sleep that night. After driving for hours, I pulled into a rundown motel off the highway. The fluorescent vacancy sign flickered ominously above the office. The woman at the front desk didn't even look up as she handed me the key. The room was small and musty, the kind of place where the walls seemed to absorb decades of cigarette, smoke and regret. I locked the door behind me and slid the chain into place. My hands were still shaking as I pulled the notebook from my jacket and spread it out on the bed. The coordinates stared back at me. Dig 24 Dien, 106 to 28 to WI typed them. Into my phone. A red pin appeared on the map, deep in the desert, miles from any road or town. Site 13. I stared at the map, my mind racing. Thomas was dead. I had no proof, no body, nothing but the notebook. If I reported this to the authorities, they'd either laugh in my face or make sure I disappeared too. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I froze. It buzzed again. My thumb hovered over the screen before I forced myself to answer. Hello? Silence. Then a faint clicking sound, like someone adjusting an old radio dial. Hello? I repeated, my heart thudding in my chest. A deep voice finally spoke. We know what you have. Click. I jumped to my feet, nearly dropping the phone. My breath hitched as I backed toward the door, checking the chain. The peephole showed only the empty parking lot beyond. My phone buzzed again. A text this time. Turn around. I whipped toward the window. The curtain was slightly open, just enough to reveal a dark figure standing beneath the flickering vacancy sign. A man in a black suit, his head tilted unnaturally to the side. My pulse hammered in my ears as I stumbled toward the bathroom. I locked the door and crouched by the tub, clutching the notebook to my chest. I heard footsteps outside, slow, deliberate, the faint shadow of feet beneath the door. Then, a knock. I held my breath. Another knock. I squeezed my eyes shut, willing myself to disappear. After a long, agonizing pause, the footsteps retreated. The pressure in my chest loosened slightly. I stayed there for an hour, maybe more, before creeping back into the room. The figure was gone. My phone buzzed again. Another text. Stay away from Site 13. I dropped the phone onto the bed. My head was spinning. My instinct screamed to walk away, to destroy the notebook and forget about all of it, but I couldn't. I flipped through the notebook again, searching for answers. The sketches were haunting, angular symbols and alien anatomy. There were detailed diagrams of advanced propulsion systems, theories on anti-gravity, descriptions of biological experiments. And then I found the entry. 1947, crash site recovered, life form intact, sedated. My throat tightened. Sedated 1953. Initial tests, subject responsive. Displays psychic projection capabilities. My skin crawled as I read on. The experiments grew darker. References to mental manipulation, dream intrusion, the ability to control biological responses in human subjects. 1976, subject becoming unstable. Relocation to Site 13, enhanced security measures implemented. 1982, subject awake, containment compromised, casualties reported. My stomach churned. The next entry was dated nearly 40 years later, 2021. Subject entering Phase 3, communication established. The final note was scrawled in shaky handwriting. If it wakes up, we won't survive. A sharp knock at the door made me jump. I grabbed the notebook and stuffed it into my jacket. Slowly, I crept toward the window and pulled back the curtain just enough to see outside. Nothing. Then I saw the man in the black suit. He was standing at the edge of the parking lot, perfectly still. His face was obscured by shadow, but I could feel his eyes on me. He raised a hand, not in a wave, but in a slow, deliberate gesture. His fingers curled unnaturally. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered and died. My phone buzzed again. Last warning. Screw it! I grabbed my keys and ran for the car. Tires squealed as I tore out of the parking lot and back onto the highway. Drove for hours through the desert night, the notebook burning like lead in my lap. I was being followed. I knew it. Every few miles, a black SUV would appear in the rearview mirror, only to disappear when I turned off the road. By dawn, I had made my decision. I was going to Site 13. The desert stretched endlessly before me. Had been driving for hours, following the coordinates deep into the New Mexico wasteland. The paved road had disappeared miles ago, replaced by uneven dirt trails and scattered rocks. My tires crunched against the dry earth as I pushed forward, my knuckles white against the steering wheel. Site 13. It sounded like something out of a conspiracy forum, the kind of place that shouldn't exist, but somehow did. Every bone in my body screamed at me to turn back, but I couldn't. Not after what I'd read, not after what I'd seen. I checked the rearview mirror. The black SUV was back. It had been tailing me for the last 20 miles, hanging just far enough behind to keep me guessing. I gritted my teeth and pressed down on the gas. The desert air shimmered with heat. Jagged hills rose in the distance, casting long shadows across the dirt road. The sun was setting, and the orange light made everything look surreal, like a scene from a dream I couldn't wake from. My phone buzzed. Another text. Stop now. I swallowed hard. My hands were trembling. A rusted chain-link fence appeared up ahead, topped with barbed wire. A weathered sign was nailed to the gate. Government property. No trespassing. Use of deadly force authorized. I pulled up to the gate and killed the engine. Dust swirled around me as I stepped out of the car, clutching the notebook under my arm. My boots crunched against the gravel. The gate was chained shut, but the lock was broken. I pushed it open, the metal creaking loudly in the silence. My pulse hammered in my ears as I stepped through. Rows of low concrete buildings stretched out before me, half buried in the sand. Military architecture, cold, functional and lifeless. The windows were covered with sheets of metal. The air smelled of rust and decay. I approached the nearest building. The steel door was slightly ajar. I hesitated, then stepped inside. Darkness swallowed me whole. I flicked on my flashlight. The beam cut through the gloom, revealing long, empty hallways, lined with rusting pipes and broken lights. The walls were peeling, and the floor was littered with debris. I followed the hallway deeper into the facility. Faint echoes of my footsteps bounced off the concrete walls. A metal sign was bolted to the wall at the next intersection. Research Sector 3. Containment. Containment. I followed the arrow, my breath quickening. The air grew colder as I descended a stairwell into the lower levels. My flashlight flickered as I reached a heavy steel door marked with a red symbol, a triangle with an eye at its center. I pushed the door open. A long room stretched out before me. Rows of medical tables lined the walls, each covered in restraints. Machines stood between them, old equipment with blinking lights and tangled cables. The air smelled of disinfectant and something metallic. Blood, maybe. At the far end of the room, a large containment pod sat beneath a spotlight. It was made of thick glass, reinforced with steel bands and bolts. Condensation streaked down the inside of the glass. I approached slowly. A thin shape lay inside. I raised my flashlight. My stomach flipped. It was humanoid. Thin limbs curled against its body. Gray skin stretched tight over sharp bones. Its head was too large for its frame, and its eyes, the eyes were open, black. No irises, no whites, just endless blackness. My breath hitched. It blinked. The glass fogged as it exhaled. A single, slender hand pressed against the glass from the inside. A voice whispered, not aloud, but in my head. You see me. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my flashlight. My vision swam. The door behind me slammed shut. The thing's mouth opened slowly, impossibly wide. A sound filled the room, low and resonant, like a vibration inside my skull. Help me. The glass trembled, cracks splintered from the edges. Please. The pressure in my head grew unbearable. I fell to my knees, clutching my temples. "Release me!" The glass shattered. I covered my face as shards flew through the air. When I lowered my arms, the pod was empty. Footsteps echoed behind me, slow, deliberate. Turned toward the door. The figure from the motel stood there, the man in the black suit. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. His voice was calm, almost amused. Behind him, more figures appeared. All wearing black suits, all with empty eyes. The air grew heavier. My limbs felt like lead. "You have no idea what you've released." I forced myself to stand. My head was spinning. "Who are you?" I demanded. The man's smile widened unnaturally. "We are the ones who put it here." A low hum filled the air, the same sound I'd heard inside my head. The walls trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. The man stepped toward me. "You're marked now," he said softly, "and it's awake." I ran until my lungs burned. The sound of my footsteps echoed down the narrow concrete hallway as I stumbled through. The dark facility. The low humming noise was growing louder, vibrating through the walls and deep into my bones. I felt it in my teeth, in my skull. I had to get out. Behind me I could hear the footsteps. Calm, measured. They weren't running. They didn't need to. I burst into another hallway, my flashlight flickering as I struggled to hold it steady. The walls here were different, smooth metal rather than concrete. Dim red lights pulsed along the floor, casting an eerie glow. The humming noise was louder now, almost deafening. I rounded a corner and saw a metal door ahead. I ran toward it, slamming into the heavy steel with my shoulder. It didn't budge. Shit! I dropped my flashlight and fumbled at the door's control panel. A series of buttons and a keycard slot blinked at me. My hands were shaking as I tried to press the buttons, a soft click behind me. I turned. He was there. The man in the black suit stood at the end of the hallway, silhouetted by the red lights. His face was unnervingly calm, his hands resting at his sides. Behind him, more figures emerged from the shadows, identical men in black suits, standing in perfect formation. "You can't run from this," the man said. His voice was quiet, but it carried over the low hum filling the air. My heart hammered against my ribs. My mind screamed for me to move, but my body was frozen. "I don't know what you're talking about," I yelled. The man's expression didn't change. "You opened the door. You saw it. That makes you part of this now." "I didn't open anything," I shouted. His gaze sharpened. "Didn't you?" A sudden wave of nausea washed over me. My head pulsed painfully as images flashed through my mind. The notebook, the old man's warning, the containment pod cracking open. The black eyes staring at me. "Release me." "No." The man stepped toward me. His eyes were unnaturally dark now, pools of shadow. "It's awake, and it knows you." Behind him, the other figures moved closer, their footsteps perfectly synchronized. Backed against the door. "You need to understand," the man said. "Roswell wasn't a cover-up, it was a containment, and you just set it free." I swallowed hard, my throat painfully dry. "What was in that pod?" I whispered. A slow smile spread across the man's face. "Not what? Who?" My vision blurred. I felt like I was falling. The hum in the air shifted into something else. A deep, resonant sound that seemed to carry meaning beneath the noise. "Find me." A sharp pain shot through my skull. My knees buckled and I collapsed to the floor. The man crouched down beside me. His eyes were completely black now. No whites, no irises, just darkness. "You're connected to it now," he said softly. "It's inside you." I gasped for air, clutching my head. "You have two choices," he said. "Run and let it find you." I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to fight the throbbing in my skull, or help us put it back. My breath shuddered. "Why would I help you?" The man's smile widened unnaturally. "Because you don't have a choice." The humming sound intensified. I opened my eyes and realized the hallway was no longer a hallway. The walls were gone, replaced by endless darkness stretching out in all directions. The red lights were floating, disembodied, flickering in the distance like dying stars. My body felt weightless. And then I saw it. A figure emerged from the darkness. Tall and thin, its body unnaturally elongated. Its skin was grey and slick, and its limbs moved with a disturbing fluidity. It had no mouth, no nose, just two enormous black eyes that glistened with a cold, wet sheen. "Find me." The creature tilted its head, its gaze fixed on me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It lifted a hand, long, bony fingers stretching toward me. I screamed, and then I was back in the hallway. The man in the suit was standing over me, his expression blank. "You understand now," he said. I shook my head violently. No, this is impossible. Impossible." The man's smile returned. "Roswell was only the beginning. That was the first one we found, but not the last." I staggered to my feet, backing away. What are you going to do to me?" "That depends on you," he said calmly. The floor beneath my feet trembled. The red lights flickered violently. The humming became a deafening roar. The man's eyes glinted. "It's awake now." Suddenly, the lights went out. I was swallowed by darkness, and then I heard the voice. "Find me." I woke up in a white room. Bright, sterile light flooded the space, burning my eyes. My head throbbed painfully. My mouth was dry. I tried to sit up, but thick leather straps held my arms and legs in place. My heart slammed against my ribs. Panic surged through me as I struggled against the restraints. "Easy now," a voice said. He turned my head toward the sound. The man in the black suit was standing at the foot of the bed. His hands were clasped behind his back, his expression calm. Too calm. "Where am I?" My voice cracked. "You're in a secure location," he said, "for your safety, my safety." "Yeah, right, you drugged me," I spat. The man's smile barely flickered. "You had an episode. We needed to stabilize you." I shook my head. "No, I saw it. It's real." "Yes," the man said simply. My breathing quickened. "What happened? What did I do?" "You completed the connection," he said. I froze. "No," I whispered. "That's not possible." "You opened the door," he said. "Now it knows you." My mind reeled. I remembered the black eyes, the cold touch of that voice in my mind, the overwhelming emptiness of the dark void. "Find me." "What does it want?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The man's expression darkened. "To escape." I swallowed hard. You said it was contained." "It was," he replied, "but containment is only effective when the subject is unaware of its confinement." I shook my head violently. "I didn't open anything." "I didn't." The man's gaze sharpened. "You touched it." My breath caught in my throat. My hands were trembling. I could still feel the icy sensation where its hand had brushed my skin. "It's inside you now," the man said softly. "No. You felt it, didn't you?" I closed my eyes, but the image of those black eyes burned behind my eyelids. "Yes," the man said. "You're connected now. A vessel." My heart hammered painfully. "So what happens next?" The man's smile was thin. "That depends on you." He stepped closer to the bed, his face suddenly inches from mine. His eyes were dark now, too dark. "You can resist it," he said. "Fight it. And if I don't," his expression didn't change, "then it will use you." A wave of nausea rolled through me. "What do you want from me?" I whispered. "To keep it contained," the man said. "How?" "You have a link to it now," he said. "We need you to maintain that connection, to act as a conduit, a living boundary between it and the rest of the world." My skin crawled. "That sounds like possession." The man's smile sharpened. "It's not possession." I narrowed my eyes. "Then what is it?" "Symbiosis," he said. A chill shot down my spine. "No," I said. "No, you can't." The man's hand shot forward, gripping my wrist. His touch was ice cold. I thrashed against the straps, but his grip tightened. "You've already been chosen," he said. My vision blurred. A sound, low and resonant, had filled the air, the hum. It vibrated through my bones. Find me! No! I screamed. The hum sharpened into a piercing tone. I gasped, my muscles convulsing. My head slammed back against the bed. My eyes rolled back, and suddenly I was there, again, in the dark. The void stretched out endlessly in every direction. The red lights flickered, dying embers in the distance, and then it emerged from the dark. The figure was closer now, tall and thin, its slick grey skin glistening under the faint red light. Its black eyes shone with a terrible, unnatural intelligence. "You are mine now." My chest constricted. I couldn't breathe. It reached toward me, long fingers inches from my face. "Let me in." A surge of strength shot through me. I screamed, wrenching away from the thing's touch. My eyes flew open, and I was back in the room. The man in the suit was watching me carefully. "You fought it," he said. "Good." I was panting, my wrists throbbing against the restraints. "What the hell was that?" "Your test," the man said. "It won't stop, not until you give in." I clenched my teeth. "I'm not going to give in." "Let's hope you can keep that promise," the man said. Suddenly the lights in the room flickered. The hum returned, low and rhythmic. The man's expression darkened. "It's awake." My pulse spiked. "What do I do?" The man leaned closer, his eyes glinting. "You contain it," he said, "or the world ends." The lights cut out. The hum intensified, louder and sharper, and then I heard the voice again. "Find me."